Must be my lucky day. I was in the neighborhood and look who I see.
Hey, whoa, you don't know me.
You right. But I would like to.
Why?
Why?
As we get closer to any premiere of any Power show, whether it be Ghost, Force, or Raising Kanan, they always ramp up the exclusives, pre-season teasers, and images, and we've got a few more to dissect, which does paint the picture of some love that Tommy's gonna have in season 2, but some major trouble. And I'm not just talking about Mireya Garcia being trouble, I'm talking about law enforcement.
I want the men running shit, and I want to know everything about Tommy fucking Egan.
You prioritize your case over my job. Hell, our marriage.
A few days ago on X, I created a thread around 5 key storylines which we do need to keep our eyes on for Tommy's character in particular. Number 4 was Mireya Garcia. I mentioned how his art will be tested once again, but she's more than just a love interest, she's a dangerous complication. His track record with love hasn't been kind, and the fact that she's the sister of Miguel Garcia adds a layer of complexity that could have some serious consequences. Number 5 was law enforcement. I said with law enforcement closing in, enemies lurking in the shadows, and with the criminal empire that Tommy's planning to build, Season 2 will be a high-stakes juggling act to protect his family, thwart enemies, all while outmaneuvering the cops. So can he evade AUSA Stacey Marks? So in the rest of this video, we're going to be splitting this into 2 parts. We're going to take another short look at Tommy's relationship with Mireya Garcia, and then we're going to come to how law enforcement are hot on Tommy's heels in Power Book 4 Force Season 2.
No, I'm good.
Why don't your brother buy you a car? Or at least, like, get you a car service?
I mean, he's the offer, but nah. I don't want anything about blood money. I want a different life.
Now in Force Season 2 Episode 1, we're going to see Tommy bumping into Mireya Garcia at a bus stop, and it does seem like this isn't the first time that they've met. They're already acquainted, and Tommy knows Mireya is Miguel's sister. She tells Tommy that she's off to work and she's a nurse, something we already knew from some of the promo images that were released not too long ago. But the main talking point from this exclusive clip from Episode 1 of Force is, she doesn't want anything from her brother and his blood money, she wants a different life. Which may also be a part of why she's rejecting Tommy. Now we know rejecting Tommy will only make him want Mireya more, but he's never been shy and he loves a challenge. But her first initial reaction seems like she's rejecting Tommy's advances, and Mireya's rejection is rooted in a desire for a life away from the chaos and crime, which seems to be a key value for her. She wants a different life. But the problem she's gonna find is, eventually she will get drawn to Tommy, which will eventually pull her into a world which she wanted to avoid. I also made a video not too long ago where I actually dissected something very similar. This relationship will have so many layers of complexity because Mireya wants nothing to do with blood money, she doesn't want anything to do with the street game, and she's the sister of Miguel Garcia. So Tommy is definitely playing with fire, and eventually when Mireya gets pulled into the street life, not if, it's just a matter of when, will she be a ride or die for Tommy? And the reason why I raised this question was because of his previous love interest motivations and moves behind Tommy's back. Holly went to the Jamaicans to put a hit out on Ghost. Lakeisha signed the papers to snitch. Although we don't know whether she would have actually carried out with it, she did sign the papers. So will Mireya Garcia be different? And will she have a different ending? Holly, Lakeisha, and Tommy short fling with Gloria have all ended up 6 feet deep. And with Mireya Garcia wanting a different life, will she accept being a part of Tommy's?
I ain't trying to run no game on you. No, you wouldn't know it.
If he finds out about us, he will kill us both.
Now, something else I hadn't considered in any of my previous videos, when they do get closer, could Mireya even change Tommy's perception on life? For example, I always wondered what Tommy would have been like had he had kids of his own. You know, would he have seen life differently like Ghost did, who wanted out of the game from the very beginning of Power? Most of Ghost's move early on in Power really was for the betterment of his family. He wanted to create a better life for Tasha, Tariq, Yasmin, and Reina. Now with Tommy, we know Holly was pregnant with his baby when he strangled her to death, but he wasn't to know. But I do wonder whether this would have changed his outlook on the street game had he had a baby of his own. But that's all what ifs and all in the past. In the here and now, Tommy's about to play with some fire with his new flame. And I don't think anything will stop Tommy from trying to achieve his end goal of becoming King of Chicago. Which does bring me nicely onto the second topic, law enforcement.
Fucking cops everywhere.
Tommy Egan is a stone cold killer.
If we take this guy down, then we can take them all down.
Hunting down Tommy in Season 2 will be law enforcement led by AUSA Stacey Marks and also Bobby DeFranco, her husband. Now before we get into the cat and mouse game between law enforcement and Tommy, from history and Power we know there is always internal conflict within law enforcement. Within previous task forces we've seen in Power, there were ambitious career-hungry characters who often make moves behind other agents and detectives' backs. And that's what it seems like AUSA Stacey Marks has done in this instance. Bobby says that she's prioritized this case over his job, hell, their marriage. So it does seem like Stacey Marks will go to extreme lengths to try and catch Tommy, and there will be some conflict at some point between her and Bobby. She's from Chicago's South Side and she first worked as a public defender before earning her way into the US Attorney's office. She's independent and a self-starter who's hungry and ready to make a name for herself. So Stacey is someone who comes from humble beginnings. She's grafted away into the US Attorney's office and it's clear nothing will stop her from putting these criminals behind for a very long time. She wants the men running shit in Chicago and she wants Tommy fucking Egan, because if they take him down, then they can take them all down. So we're gonna see the streets crawling with cops, which will prove to be another big problem for Tommy as well as Diamond. If the streets are flooded with cops and if their corners and territory are being targeted by law enforcement, this will make it very difficult for Tommy and Diamond to conduct business, which will definitely hurt them financially or worse. Now, in this law enforcement teaser for Stacey Marks and Bobby, they do name drop Tommy Egan, which is something we've already spoken about previously. Law enforcement being able to put a name to Tommy's ghost-like status in Chicago. So I really am intrigued to find out the ins and outs of this little situation, because Tommy's supposed to be dead in New York. So I wonder how the writers kind of twist this, and is this potentially a way in which they could ignite this Ghost in Force crossover once again? At this moment in time, it really is just a guessing game, because we all know Power, they can completely turn the story and flip it upside down at the drop of a dime. So let's see how this begins to unfold during the early stages of Season 2. But with that being said, those are a few of the new exclusives from Season 2 Episode 1 and also for the series with law enforcement. So drop all your thoughts down below on Tommy's relationship with Mireya Garcia and law enforcement being hot on Tommy's heels. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.